Let's get ready to grumble!
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. If you have a seat, please sit down.
Mr. Biden, my brothers have been very eloquent in what they've been talking to you about, but my question to you, sir, is why are we sitting here dicking and dogging around deficit reduction and playing games with Joe Manchin, a tiny little sliver of climate change help? We got the Arctic burning up. We got UK burning up. We got all over the country burning up. And you guys can't do a Green New Deal. You came in here saying you weren't going to do nothing but a build back better. I ain't seen you build back shit. You got the House, you got the Senate, and you got the White House. What the fuck's going on, sir? Why in the world can't you get no damn goddamn real climate change going on? For real, for real. For real, for real, for real. What the fuck is going on, Mr. Biden?
As you heard me say before, when I think climate, I think jobs. And the G7 also said we'd work together to take on China's abusive and coercive trade practices and rid our supply chains of products made with forced labor. We task our teams to work on the details of the price cap on Russian oil to drive down Putin's revenues without hurting Americans and others at the gas pump.
Excuse me, Mr. Biden, can you please tell us what the fuck is wrong with China? Why do you think China's our enemy? And what is the deal with you having a hard one for Russia? Is this really more a matter of you, once again, trying to help cover for the very, very bad Hillary Clinton? I mean, what else could it be? Why are we splitting the world in half? Why are we not learning diplomacy? Why are we forcing neoliberalism on the world? Why does everyone seemingly have to be a capitalist pig to be able to do business with the United States? Why is it that everything we do has got to be military driven? Why is Pelosi in Taiwan? What the fuck is wrong with your administration? How is it possible you could make Donald Trump look good?
Here's the poll, Jack. You guys are all the same. That poll showed that 92% of Democrats, if I ran, would vote for me. 92% said if I did, they'd vote for me.
And Mr. Biden, what exactly is it that you think my brother here got wrong? First of all, why in the hell is your Federal Reserve raising interest rates again and again and again? Why are you doing it? And why exactly? What? Why exactly are you all trying to lay off people? You're sitting there ramping up all this hiring, but in fairness, most of those jobs are going to people getting their second job. I know what I think's happening. I think you guys got tired of us saying no to your shitty jobs during the pandemic. And now you're clawing it back. You cut spending. You reduced the deficit. You rose interest rates up. You're making it harder and harder on everybody that isn't loaded up in the stock market. And now you're going to let student debt go through too? What the fuck is going on? Oh, I'm not allowed to say it to the president. What the fuck is going on, Mr. President? This is insane.
I know you got to be frustrated. I know. I can taste it. We have almost 1,785,000, don't hold me the exact number, I'll get the number, 700 and some thousand have had debt forgiven, their whole debt forgiven because of their working in either as teachers or other means by which they qualify. And we continue to make that easier. Secondly, I am considering dealing with some debt reduction. I am not considering $50,000 debt reduction, but I'm in the process of taking a hard look at whether or not there will be additional debt forgiveness.
Mr. Biden, I've been around here long enough to know that you have stood against everything that the progressives and other people that would consider themselves leftists and just good, decent people have stood for a very long time. You've been on the wrong side of busing. You've been on the wrong side of the crime bill. You've been on the wrong side of bankruptcy protection, and you have been on the wrong side of student debt elimination. In fact, You even made it harder on all of us to discharge our student debt. What in the world can we do with a man like you in office? The Democrats went back to brunch after you were elected, sir. There's only about a quarter of us running around trying to make anything happen. The rest of them are busy telling us how great you are for deficit reduction. What the motherfuck is that? And why in the world are you still not willing to make marijuana legal? Why are you still not willing to declassify it as a Schedule I narcotic? What in the world would possess you with so much empirical data from all the medical marijuana community? Why in the world is it still illegal in this country while you're trying to get some woman, some rich woman, mind you, nonetheless, but nonetheless, another human being that's being persecuted for drugs, sir, for a herb of the earth, one that our Lord and Savior gave us all. And you, as a Catholic, should know that the Lord made no bad thing, and those weeds are part of his creation. What the fuck is wrong with you, Jolton Joe Biden?
The truth of the matter is, there's not nearly been enough evidence that has been acquired as to whether or not it is a gateway drug. After watching my predecessor every single year increase the debt, the federal deficit, every year for the 4 years he was in office, I said no more. The days of exploding federal deficits are over, and I've kept my word. Just take a look at the facts. The deficit is down a record of $1.7 trillion this year. That's right, 1.7 trillion with a T.
Man, I am telling you, I have about had it up to my friggin' mullet with that shit. When are you going to go ahead and take care of the American people? Everybody and their mother told us we had to vote for Biden to get rid of Mr. Trump, Mr. Tiny Hands. Well, we did it, and what have you done for us? Not a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing, have you?
You haven't found one person, one world leader to say America's going backwards. America's better positioned to lead the world than we ever have been. We have the strongest economy in the world. Our inflation rates are lower than other nations in the world. The one thing that has been destabilizing is the outrageous behavior of the Supreme Court of the United States.
Excuse me, Mr. Biden, but isn't inflation just something that you see based on the pandemic, based on supply chain issues, based on gouging? I mean, based on fuel costs? What in the world does inflation have to do with creating unemployed people, with raising interest rates? What in the world are you thinking? If you got a supply chain issue, why not fix the fucking supply chains? If you've got an issue with not enough production, incentivize the workers and build more stuff. If you've got a problem with fuel production, switch to fucking green energy. We are in the middle of a climate crisis. Joe, you have got all the power in the world to reschedule marijuana. You've got all the power in the world right here, right now, to literally get rid of student debt with a single pen stroke. Why not do it? What the fuck is wrong with you, Joe Biden? Every one of your loser friends that made us all vote for you, every single one of them has gone back to brunch. They're checking out their 401ks. Are you trying to tell us that voting blue, no matter who, isn't going to get us to the finish line? Is that what you're telling us? Because that's what it sounds like.
Well, what I don't want to do, and I'm not being facetious, I don't want to emulate Trump's abuse of the Constitution and constitutional authority. That I'm going to do everything in my power, which I legally can do in terms of executive orders, as well as push the Congress and the public. The bottom line here is, if you care if the polling data is correct, and you think this decision by the court was an outrage or a significant mistake, vote. Show up and vote. Vote in the off year and vote, vote, vote. That's how we'll change it.
Mr. Biden, will you please explain to all of us here why you all spend so much time fighting against Mr. Bernie Sanders as opposed to fighting the Democratic bullshit with Manchin and Sinema? How come every single possible piece of legislation is held up by these people? Why is that, sir?
I'm not a socialist. I'm a mainstream Democrat, and I have been. And mainstream Democrats have overwhelmed me. If you notice, the 48 of the 50 Democrats supported me in the Senate on virtually everything I've asked.
Why are you putting the burden on the little people? Why didn't you give us checks? Why didn't you take care of us? Why are we still not with, why have you not canceled student debt? I don't get it. What the fuck? Is it your intention to literally starve the people out and make them suffer through to bring prices down so that the rich can get richer and the poor can get poorer? Is that your goal? Is that really the goal? Because that's what it feels like.
I think that, you know, they're not focused. All they're focused on, understandably, is the problem they're facing. They get a 5.5% raise, an average raise in their salaries, and yet inflation exceeds that. And they look around the world, and they know that a lot of it's extremely complicated. And so they're frustrated, and I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. There's a lot we have to do. But you know as well, I shouldn't say you, I think what I have to do is explain in simple, straightforward language what's going on.
Well, Mr. Biden, I do declare that there is no right to an education in this here country. I do believe there is no right whatsoever to school in this country, that it is left to the states to figure out for themselves. And yet we have the most voracious, and let me say it one more time for the hard of hearing, we have the most voracious laws in this country, sir, that keep people going from schools to prisons and then back out and then to prisons, recidivism, you name it, all in the name of the very thing that you're trying to fight with, Mr. Putin.
I look back on my life, and I think beyond my family, my sister, my brother, my mom, my dad, the people who made a difference in my life in a fundamental way were teachers.
We are going to support Ukraine as long as it takes. Look at the impact that the war on Ukraine has had on Russia. They've had to renege on their national debt for the first time since the beginning, almost well over 100 years. They've lost 15 years of the gains they made in terms of their economy. They're in a situation where they're having trouble because of my imposition of dealing with what can be exported to Russia in terms of technology. They can't even, you know, they're going to have trouble maintaining oil production because they don't have the technology to do it. They need American technology.
Hi, Joe. Steve from Real Progressives. Trying to understand here. What exactly is it that is your agenda? It seems like you've put the emphasis on expanding NATO, which I thought that the United States had decided not to do. And you've gone ahead and put the screws on Europe, which they're about to buck you, it looks like, because they can't live without the fuel. And it looks to me like the world is splitting in two. Like there's China, there's Russia, there's Iran, there's Africa, there's South America. There's all these countries that are lining up against us. I have never seen anything quite like it. I don't even think Donald Trump could have done such shit. What exactly is it that is your plan? Why in the world did people say to vote blue no matter who? Why did they say to vote for you? What are you going to do for us, sir? For real, people have no health care. They have absolutely no hope. When you sit there and you look at the people on TV and you look at the stock market and you look at the people that are in the investor class, they're living life. They're living it well. Your buddy Dan Snyder is out there off the coast of Italy playing games on his yacht. All your friends are living La Vida Loca while we are struggling, while we're waiting in long lines at Walmart because all the local grocers have gone out of business. Sir, what are you doing for the American people? Why is it that we feel like you're about to take us to war with China and Russia? What is it about you that craves that? What are you doing to us, sir?
I'm a capitalist. All right, guys. No. There's no such thing as a quick one. I'm out of here. Thank you all very much.
I give up. What do you do with this guy? Do you know? I don't know. What do you do? I give up. No, I'm serious. What? And still, the